Avatar has a brand new album, Don't Go in the Forest. Tonight we're going to discover if this album is all bark or if this baby's got teeth. Find out next. Welcome, metal enthusiasts, to another episode of the Metal Dude Abides. Tonight, we are going to take a look at the brand new Avatar album, Don't Go in the Forest. Now, confession alert, I believe that Avatar is my favorite band from the last decade. They are on a 6-album heater that I have loved every minute of, going all the way back to the Black Waltz, to just recently they put out Dance Devil Dance. All 6 of those albums are sensational. As a matter of fact, and you're going to go way back in the time machine, I've been doing this for about 2.5 years now. One of my very first episodes was a ranking of the Avatar albums that I'm going to have to update now that they have a new one. But you can tell that I love Avatar because they're the first album ranking that I did. Now, there is always a little bit of a worry when you are an Avatar fan, and the reason is simple. Avatar, brilliant musicians and brilliant songwriters, but that brilliance often leads them to go off in a variety of different directions. And so you're never quite sure what to expect from the new Avatar album. I'll give you a for instance. In the middle of that run, they put out an amazing, the best, most brilliant concept album I've ever heard in my life, Feathers and Flesh. Yes, Feathers and Flesh, yes. Sorry about that. Sometimes, you have those senior moments. This is a concept album about an owl and an eagle. There was even an accompanying book that talked about the significance of each of those songs and led you through that story. Again, brilliant. But the very next album they did was a tribute to Manowar called Avatar Country. Completely different vibe on that one than the previous album. So again, I love both of those albums, but you could see where one or the other would be significantly better for particular listeners. So, cue up the sweat machine. I've been hearing all along from Avatar themselves that this album is going to be much more melodic than previous albums. And I start getting a little nervous. So let's see what I think of the brand new album. And do my concerns hold water? The album starts off with the song Tonight We Must Be Warriors. This was also a single that they released a couple months before the album, so I had heard this song before. This song starts complete with drum and fife that would take you back almost to the colonial days. Kind of an interesting beginning to the song and to the album. And then it breaks into this like anthemic power metal rhythm. Now, I have to say that I'm not really into that type of power metal. So, we're a couple minutes into the song and I'm not digging it at all. But then Tim breaks into one of the best guitar solos, just changes the entirety of the song and basically saves the song. So I started out a little skeptical, but the guitar work on that saves it for me. I also want to point out, so I don't say it on every song, the production on this album is particularly good. They have a new producer who really brings out kind of that live Avatar experience. The guitars sound bigger, the drums sound bigger. We talk a lot about the drums on this album. I really like the production. And so sometimes, even if the song's a little bit on the weaker side, the production saves it because it really brings out some, again in this case, some fantastic guitar work. But I have to say, Avatar, not what I really want is them going off in a power metal direction. So I give this song an okay. It's all right. Not great, but not terrible. Let's see if the album picks up after this. The second song on this album is called In the Airwaves. And right off the bat, you finish the first song, second song kicks in, whew, much heavier. Much appreciated, Avatar. This is more my style of Avatar music. I will say, true to Avatar's word, this song has its heavy moments, but it also has quite a bit of melody as well. This is where that whole, there's going to be more melody, there's going to be more choruses, that kicks into this song as well. Now, one other thing I mentioned in the first song, I'll mention it here. John Alfredson's drums. I've been listening to Avatar for over a decade. Love them. Never really noticed John to the point that I did on this album. I think this is some of his best drumming work in the entirety of the Avatar collection. And I was trying to figure out, is it just because the producer put more emphasis, or whether John just is on a all-time roll. Either way, check out the drums on this song and across the entire album. They are excellent. The first song was a little shaky. This song, much better. Oh, what to say about this third song? Captain Goat. Oh, that Avatar creativity giveth, and it taketh away. I can't really get into this song. It's got some great moments in it. I particularly like the heaviness and the suddenness of the vocals that Johannes puts in when he growls out "oars up." It's like it's an explosion that happens in the song. I really dig that part of the song, and I like the effect that they did. They did a video for this where Johannes is completely submerged in water, and when he does that "oars up," it's like all the bubbles that come out of his mouth because, of course, he's underwater. Really cool effect, like that part of the song. But again, the overall goat theme here is a little too much for me. I was reminded, one of our other favorite bands in the house is Amon-Amarth. They recently put out a song, Hedrick. Who's the goat we love the most? Hedrick, right? My Swedish bands, there's an old saying back from the happy days of jumping the shark. Let's keep the goats out of our music, shall we? Not a good look. Not really what I'm into. We felt that Amon-Amarth kind of slipped up with that one, and I think Avatar, Captain Goat's a little bit far for me to go. This is probably one of my least favorite songs on the album. Things take a turn for the better right here at song 4, the title track, Don't Go in the Forest. This is, I think, what Avatar's really going for when they talk about that melodic turn, because this song kind of feels like Avatar meets Ghost, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It starts off, Henrik has a unbelievable, great distorted bass solo, and then the song kicks in. It's got that creepiness that Avatar is known for. Don't go in the forest. Don't look behind you. You go in the forest. I don't know if I can get you out of there in one piece. It's one of those kind of songs. So very Avatarish, but again, the group chorus vocals, kind of that heavy lean in on the melody along with the rest of the song, kind of gives me that kind of Ghost vibe. Of course, Ghost, one of the most popular bands coming out of Sweden today. I'm sure there's some influence here as all of these bands are, running in the same circles. To me, this song is the best song on the album so far. The first time I heard it, I liked it, but I have to say, I'm a little bit late to get to this review, so I've had this album on play for a couple weeks now, and I have to say, this song so catchy, and I find myself singing it all the time. So, as much as I liked it when I first heard it, I have to say, the more and more I listen to this album, the more and more this track stands out as one of the best. After a bit of an auspicious start, Avatar's really finding their groove here. The next song is called Death and Glitz. I recently saw a movie the other day called Last Night in Soho, and it was based on a woman going back in time to solve a murder mystery. She went back to like 60s London fashion scene to discover the truth of what happened in the apartment or whatever. The video that went with this and the song itself kind of reminds me a little bit of that, except in this case, going back in time to solve a mystery to like 70s disco era. Really kind of a wild concept. It's a kind of a grisly murder that happens, and they're going through, what could have happened to this poor unfortunate soul. Really good song. Again, this is where Avatar shows off that creativity. This song completely different from the last song. Both are very good. Both are very unique. Love this song. That's 2 in a row on this album that I am really enjoying. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Whenever you hit 3 strikes in a row in bowling, it's called a turkey. Here, Avatar has 3 great songs in a row. After a very rough start, we're really hitting our stride here. The next song is called the Abduction Song. When I think of Avatar and their quirkiness, this is the kind of song that I really think about. These are the kind of songs that are definitely weird, they're definitely quirky, but are right down my alley. Really love this one. The drums in this song are sensational. The vocals, you really see Johannes's range come out a little bit more on this song, and their weirdness and the lyrics that accompany it just really give you that full Avatar experience. Love this song. These 3 songs are all competing, in my opinion, for best song on the album. 3 in a row. Let's get greedy. Let's see if they can do 4 in a row. Well, all good things do come to an end. The next song is called Howling at the Waves. And I guess you could say that this is a ballad, and it follows up a pretty heavy stretch on the album. At the end of the day, I'm just not a fan of this song. It is, there's great singing on it, but at the end of the day, and the lyrics are fine too. It's just a song that never really, back to that, it just doesn't sink your teeth into it. One of the things I really have liked a lot in 2025, I've noticed that there's a lot of ballad type songs that end up being some of the heaviest tracks on an album. This is just kind of mid. It never really seems to get going. Not a real fan of this. So let's just keep moving, see if the next one is any better. Fear not, Avatar fans. The boys get right back into a groove with the next song, Dead and Gone and Back Again. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's a really good song. I talked about the 3 songs that were right there in a row that are among my favorites. This one is in that group. Maybe now, as I get to this song, maybe this is my favorite song on the album. That's the beauty of Avatar. They usually have 3 or 4 really great songs that compete. You can't really say, oh, this is my favorite. They're all really good. This also goes back to this wonderful production because this song is energized with a fairly simple but a sneakily good riff that's really brought to life. Really is the energy behind this song. A lot more energy and vigor in this song than in kind of the last ballad I felt was a little flat emotionally. This song really picks the pace of the album right back up. Excellent song. I will call this the best deep track on the album because it is farther into the album and they did not release a single of this. So, best deep track on the album right here. Dead and Gone and Back Again. I knew we might be in trouble when I saw the title of this one. Take This Heart and Burn It. Sounds like a country western song to me, but I digress. This song starts out really heavy, but it just doesn't go anywhere. It just doesn't ever have those moments that stand out. So it's a good track. Kind of reminds me like In the Airwaves, a good song, but it's not anywhere in that top echelon of songs here. So not bad, not good, just it kind of is here. Nice to have a little bit of heaviness. Hopefully this portrays a great closer for this album. I think I just made that word up, protrudes. Don't know what that even means. My hopes for the end of this album are dashed on the rocks, driven by the boat of Captain Goat, I suppose. Magic Lantern. Whenever I do an album review, I tell you, these are my favorite songs. These are, But I also will tell you the worst song of the album, and it's the closer. Magic Lantern is not what I want from my Avatar. It's not what I want from the close of an album. This is kind of a terrible ending to the album. Kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You always want to, as they say in show business, you always want to go out on a high note. This is definitely not that. I like, for my album closers, I want something fast and heavy, or I want something long and epic. This is neither of those things. I think a couple albums back, they did a great album closer called Wormhole. They did some really cool effects with the guitar. Loved that song. I think they were kind of going for like a Wormhole type thing because they do have a very interesting, unique guitar riff on this song, but it just doesn't work for me at all. Going way back in the time machine to the David Lee Roth era of all things, there's a song called Yankee Rose where Steve Vai has the guitar talking back to David Lee Roth. He kind of does a laugh with the guitar. That's kind of the best, closest thing I can come to on this album, for this song, excuse me. But it just doesn't work for me. I think this song is, I love Avatar. I don't want to say anything negative about him, but Magic Lantern is pushing the envelope of me going, oh no, this is a disaster. So let's not talk anymore about Magic Lantern. Let's close this baby up with my final thoughts on the entire album. I have to say that I am a little disappointed in this Avatar album. Once again, this is one of my favorite bands. They have put together 6 unbelievably good albums in a row. There was always going to be that moment where that's a high bar that they've set for themselves. And I don't quite think they made it. Having said all of that, there are 4 great Avatar songs on here. There's a couple of good songs on here, but there are a couple of, I have to say, stinkers in here as well. So it's a little bit all over the board. I can easily say that this is, if you take a look at those last 6 albums, this is definitely coming in behind all of those albums. If I were to do an album ranking, this would kind of fall in amongst their very first efforts, way before Black Waltz, which is kind of the beginning of this modern band, right? Like, that's kind of when Avatar really took off. This album, in comparison to those, not very good. I do believe that this album might sound better live. I am on my way to see Avatar in a couple of days, so I'll probably have a completely different impression of this album when I get back. They are usually fantastic live. I do believe that this is an effort to be a little bit more commercial based by putting a little bit more melody into the songs, but I would advise Avatar against that. I know it works for Ghost. Ghost has a great backstory, and they put that creepiness into a great package that is very commercial, but also very metal. I have to say, Avatar, I love your quirkiness. I love your weirdness. I don't know that it's ever going to be something that the masses are going to appreciate like us metal fans. So, good job experimenting with the melodies, but I'm really hoping you get back to a little bit of a heavier sound on the next album. And that's the episode. If you're a fan of Avatar, go out and see them. They're in North America as we speak. Go out and see them live. One of the best live acts you're ever going to see. And maybe you'll see me there. In the meantime, this is the Metal Dude signing off. Take care.